Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Grain Gauntlet. This week we are leading up to what will come on Monday, the 12th, the latest USDA supply and demand report. It's one of the bigger reports of the year where we get some final numbers on last year's crop. With me today is Patrick. Patrick, are you ready to answer 5 questions?
I'm ready. I'll do my best.
All right, sounds good. First question, are you surprised that prices fell back after Christmas, and what does that mean going forward?
No, actually, we kind of talked about this on one of the other tapings we had done. Typically, the market, whatever it does the first week, usually offsets the second week. The big boys are not playing, and typically the Friday before Christmas, usually within the first day or two of the new year, we trade at that level, and that's exactly what happened. We rallied up, we came back down, and we traded right within the same price range as the close of the Friday before Christmas. No surprise at all.
Okay, good. What's it going to take to get soybeans to $12?
A rumor, a weather issue, funds buying, just about anything. You know, we keep looking at $12 as this magic level that's so far away, but in reality, it's $1.10 away in July right now. $1.10, heck, we've just had 3 months in a row with $1 movement in beans. Historically, $1.50 movement in beans for a month is not a whole lot. $1.50 movement, just with any kind of igniting bullish sentiment, and we're at 1240. It doesn't take much, but we do need something to ignite the bulls and get them going. More Chinese buying like we saw yesterday would definitely do it. Weather issue in Brazil, which isn't happening right now, although southern Brazil, parts of Argentina are getting dry. It looks like they're going to be dry for a couple more weeks. Anything can get them going. Just the fun saying we're too low, we're going to buy this thing like they did a month and a half ago, will get us up to $12. It won't take much.
Yeah, I see that there's, with what happened with Venezuela, that potentially angering China, I saw some people start to question. I really wish this industry would get used to the idea that China needs this trade deal every bit as much as us, if not more. And good to see the purchases continue, and I think we both fully expect that to keep happening.
You know what's funny is if you look at what the world typically importing bean countries, versus what Argentina and Brazil can export, it leaves us with about 1.65 billion bushels, which is exactly what the USDA says we're going to export this year. They're saying we're going to fill the gap, whatever country that is. I think we could even do better than that, because, you know, we're going to have a couple months where there's no South American crop coming. Maybe we get a little bit better exports than 1.65 billion, but we don't need better. We just need that to get up to 12.50.
All right, good. Next question says, should I sell beans and do a buyback?
I always like to sell crop and do buybacks, but right now most guys can't take the risk because profitability is so tight for farms right now. So one of the best things to do right now is basis is pretty good nationally compared to where it would be if we have a $1.50 rally. If we rally $1.50, basis is going to get wider. So if you need some cash flow, you can lock in basis. We did this last week as a recommendation off of the March contract. Sell beans by doing a basis only contract. End users will pay you 70-80% of the price of the contract. You get that up front, you get the beans moved, and then you have to March to lock in the futures. So if we do get a rally, you benefit. And you don't have to put any money in your hedge account.
All right, good. This next question says, what impact does the U.S. taking control over Venezuela's oil have on our corn and soybean prices, either now or down the road?
Okay, and this one you want me to look at my crystal ball twice. What Venezuela is going to end up doing with their oil, and is Americans going to come in and save them and produce a lot more oil, and what will that do for crude prices? And then the second crystal ball is, how will that affect corn and soybeans? I have no idea. Okay, first of all, We don't know what's going to happen in Venezuela. If the U.S. does chum up with the new regime and they get a new regime in and all the oil is flowing, we're going to add probably 2 million barrels of crude every month. It's going to be fantastic. It'll be a lot more crude. But you know what will happen? OPEC will cut their production to keep prices high. We can't go down to $30 a barrel because OPEC can't survive at that. So the rest of the world will react and will offset. Nobody has a crystal ball to figure that out yet. I think it has very little effect in the next 6 months to a year on soybean or corn prices, except maybe some better demand because we'll use more gasoline because it'll be cheaper or it'll stay cheap like it is now. That's a good thing for demand.
Yeah, I think there was, the biggest movement we would have gotten would have been that first day, the reaction. But other than that, it's a lot of, moving the deck chairs around. It's kind of the same way we just did with China and soybeans. The same amount's going to get used. It doesn't really change demand. It's just, there's just another source that's going to enter the game. And if they produce more, someone else will produce less. And that's really all that happens in the end.
You can't push prices down so low that people can't produce. That's why we'll probably get a rally in grains, because you can't keep it sub production level prices for very long. You just can't. So something will happen to raise the price. People will cut production or demand will pick up to get prices back up. It's that simple.
All right, good. And final question, this one's from a prospect, says, any reason to be selling corn ahead of the USDA report?
We've been playing for this rally post-harvest for the last month and a half. Our biggest fear has been that because of the amount of corn that had to go to market, that would take a little bit longer to get the rally going. And right now, the rally this year is about a week behind the rally last year. This is the time of the year the seasonal trends are pretty doggone strong, right? So I'm not selling corn. And if you have to sell corn, buy it back. Would I sell before the report? No, I wouldn't. We're pretty well sold already as a company. If I was at 10%, yeah, probably, because you're crazy to be at 10%. We're at 75% sold, so there's no reason to sell. We're going to stick with our buybacks.
All right, this is more my own follow-up question. Out of all the three primary grains and this coming report, which do you feel this report's going to be most helpful for?
Most helpful or biggest bullish surprise?
I guess either.
I think they're going to be different. I'll answer both. Most helpful for corn. I think yields are going to come down enough where we don't have massive, excessive 2 billion bushels, and that we'll get enough of a rally to get a good insurance price in February and maybe be able to make some profitable sales. Most bullish, you take a bushel off beans and we're at pipeline and we're at $14. Beans could go crazy if China's buying like they are, and all of a sudden we lose a bushel an acre. All of a sudden, we're really tight here in the U.S. Crush has been fantastic. Domestic use is therefore good. We're picking up on the exports. We don't have to export a whole lot to hit numbers. You drop 80 million bushels off of 290 to 210. We don't have any stocks, okay? So the most bullish would be soybeans with just a bushel drop. The most beneficial, probably a yield drop of corn down to 181 to 183.
Yeah, sounds like you're saying safest bet is probably corn, but the most potential, if we get a surprise, would be for soybean.
Yep, exactly.
All right, good. All right, well, thank you, and thank you, everybody, for the questions this week. As always, if you want to have your question answered, email it to adminstaff@hedge-plus.com. Otherwise, I know we're all looking forward to getting some new numbers from the USDA on Monday.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.